In a world where modern education, science, or media rarely convey the deepest truths of human existence, there emerged a beacon of light in 1943. Continence and its creative power, offered by Swami Jagadisakyanananda. This profound text, now re-examined through the lens of dark truth therapy, transcends a mere endorsement of semen retention. It serves as a vital blueprint for men embarking on the journey of confronting their shadow self, healing buried wounds, and unlocking their genuine creative potential. It boldly challenges superficial definitions of instinct, love, and self-worth, inviting a rigorous reevaluation of what we have collectively suppressed in the dark recesses of our psyches. The 21st century inundates us with an overwhelming torrent of information, yet paradoxically leaves us starved for foundational knowledge about ourselves. Few articulate the profound significance of semen, the very seed of life, and how its retention is intrinsically linked to unlocking one's higher self. Conversely, the dispersal of this vital fluid is directly correlated with a shortening of life and the generation of an abundance of unnecessary suffering for humanity. For men grappling with love addiction, the debilitating trauma of rejection, or the distorting influence of the ego, this is not merely a physiological concept. It stands as a potent metaphor for the fragmentation of energy, the stark absence of emotional discipline, and the pervasive refusal to confront the most vulnerable aspects of one's being. This narrative delves into the intricate process of semen absorption, meticulously explaining how this essential life substance is generated from the nutrients we consume and subsequently reabsorbed into the bloodstream when not released. This is far from a dry, moralistic sermon. Rather, it is an urgent invitation for men to engage in profound introspection, a journey to strip away the masks of the ego and gain a clearer understanding of the origins of both their strength and their vulnerabilities. We will traverse the historical landscape, exploring the perspectives of eminent geniuses, revered gurus, and esteemed experts who fervently advocated the merits of retaining semen for higher purposes, highlighting its pivotal role in their pursuit of exceptional achievements. Simultaneously, we will underscore the grave repercussions of relentlessly chasing pleasure and sense satisfaction, a pervasive form of love addiction and internal avoidance that many contemporary men unwittingly confront. Within the pantheon of great mystics and preeminent idealists, those veritable titans among the architects of the human spirit, as eloquently observed by Romain Rolland, a lifelong pacifist and renowned writer, there exists a profound awareness and an instinctive recognition of the formidable might borne by the concentrated soul. This reservoir of creative energies, accumulated through semen retention, emerges through the deliberate renunciation of the corporal and psychic expenditures intrinsically associated with the realm of sexuality. Even among those who trod the path of unorthodoxy in matters of faith, even the sensualists such as Bovin, Balzac, and Flaubert, there lies an attunement to this ethereal truth. Beethoven, on a day he vehemently spurned the siren call of carnal passions, fervently implored, "Let me preserve it for loftier ends, for God and the exalted art of creation." This act represents a direct confrontation with primal instinct, an exercise in emotional discipline to redirect energy towards a transcendent purpose. Rainer Chandra Rai, a well-known chemist and educationalist, when queried about his choice to marry, replied with a gentle smile, "I have already wedded, my union solemnized with the noble science of chemistry." For countless men, love and relationships can devolve into a form of addiction, a compensatory mechanism to fill an internal void, or to sidestep the arduous task of confronting themselves. Ray found his fulfillment and purpose in an alternative domain, signifying a profound reorientation of his vital energy. Subhas Bose, the illustrious patriot, when urged to contemplate marriage, candidly confessed that the pursuit of his nation's liberation consumed his entire being, leaving no room for such reflections. His example illustrates a man whose life gained meaning and direction far beyond conventional societal expectations, a powerful demonstration of masculine energy robustly rerouted. Plato extolled the temperance of the Greek athletes, while Mahatma Gandhi, a living embodiment of semen retention and self-control versus self-indulgence, attributed his mental fortitude and physical vitality to celibacy. With the humility that marked his saintly character, Gandhi divulged, "Even after 20 years of sensual indulgence, I have reached this state. I contemplate how much more profound my vigor and enthusiasm could have been had I maintained unbroken brahmacharya throughout. I am fully convinced that the undeviating path of brahmacharya could bestow manifold energy, physical, mental, and moral. If an imperfect brahmachari like myself has reaped such benefits, consider the miraculous empowerment of those who have unwaveringly adhered to it." Gandhi's confession serves not only as a testament to the power of continence, but also as a poignant reminder that even the greatest among us possess shadows from their past that demanded confrontation and transcendence.
Buddha, in his teachings to lay disciples, emphasized the practice of continence as the key to alleviating suffering. Iamblichus, a Syrian Neoplatonic philosopher of Arab origin, professed that the gods do not heed the supplications of impurity born of sexual liaisons. Within the principles of Islam, strict celibacy is mandated during the pilgrimage to Mecca, and the Hebrew congregation upholds continence during the theophany at Sinai and before entry into the temple. In Christianity, continence served as a preparation rite for both baptism and the Eucharist. Christian scholars and devotees alike extolled the virtues of celibacy. Indeed, the Roman Catholic Church appoints celibate bishops, often selecting them from the monastic orders. Undoubtedly, none have rendered greater service to their countries and to humanity than the continent saints and scholars, with luminaries such as St. Paul, Immanuel Kant, and Sir Isaac Newton standing as exemplars of this ethos. Echoing through the chronicles of time, Jesus Christ himself proclaimed, "And there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake." Matthew 19:12. This signifies a voluntary sacrifice, an ultimate act of self-discipline to attain a higher spiritual objective, an embrace of the ego death required to be reborn into something greater. In Ayurvedic texts, it is described that from food, chyle is manufactured. From chyle comes blood. From blood comes flesh. From flesh comes fat. From fat comes bones. From bones comes marrow, and lastly from marrow comes semen. Thus, semen is described as the finest of the 7 elements of the human system, the essence of essences. Ayurvedic physicians hold that the food we eat takes 5 days to be digested and transformed into chyle. Chyle, in turn, takes 5 days to be converted into blood. Blood takes 5 days to become flesh. Flesh takes 5 days to become fat. Fat takes 5 days to become bone. Bone takes 5 days to become marrow, and marrow takes 5 days to become semen. Therefore, the food eaten by us is generally drawn into semen in the course of 35 days after digestion. This slow, subtle process of transformation underscores the immense value placed on every single drop of semen. The aura also mentions that semen is calm, white, cool, a giver of strength, a builder of the body, the seed of procreation, the essence of the body, and the chief stay of life. Just as ghee is pervasive in milk and molasses in sugarcane juice, so the semen pervades the body of human beings. The two testes, located in the scrotal bag, are described as secretory glands. The cells of the testes are endowed with a peculiar property of secreting semen from the blood. Similar to how bees collect honey in the honeycomb drop by drop, so too the cells of the testes gather semen drop by drop from the blood. When semen is stored in the scrotal bags and not ejaculated, it percolates through the small pores of the bag and mixes with the blood. At that time, it appears like white cells of the blood, so subtle that they cannot be seen separately in the blood by means of a microscope. Akin to the white corpuscles of the blood, which possess the power of preventing disease, recouping wounds, cuts, bruises, and creating new flesh, this is why the longer one practices semen retention, the more of this substance one can retain in the blood, and the further one is from disease. That is why a semen retention practitioner rarely falls victim to disease, and even if they fall ill, they recover sooner than incontinent persons. Semen, after being mixed with blood, again comes back to the testicles and with other new materials transforms into stronger and dearer semen. In due course, it returns to the blood. When the blood is revitalized, it again comes to the testicles and is converted into still stronger and purer semen. If the semen is not lost, it gradually becomes stronger and stronger, simultaneously strengthening the mind and the body. When semen is viewed through a microscope, it is found to be surrounded by an infinite number of protoplasmic cells resembling tiny tadpoles, which are nothing but albumin. This albumin strengthens the nervous system, and when it is lost, our nervous system becomes weak. What is commonly referred to as excitement is nothing but the agitation of the nervous system. Therefore, we should neither entertain thoughts nor perform deeds that may, in any way, excite our nervous system. This is a critically important point for men, especially those susceptible to excessive emotional reactions. Uncontrolled excitement can lead to toxic behaviors, entrapping them in cycles of love addiction and self-destruction. Emotional discipline, fortified by semen retention, emerges as a vital shield against these internal agitations. The Bhagavad Gita, an ancient Hindu scripture, describes how the retention of semen creates the 8 dhatus, called ojas, in our body. Ojas is what is referred to by Westerners as human magnetism. Ojas is the spiritual force and the true builder of personality. Ojas pervades the whole body, but primarily resides in the heart. Cheerfulness, development, and strength of the body are profoundly dependent on the growth of ojas. Its absence ultimately leads to death. It is the main prop of life. Enthusiasm, merit, patience, grace, and beauty, along with other attributes pertaining to the body, are born of this subtle substance called ojas. Ojas pervades the whole body and is described as soothing, cool, steady, white, and highly conducive to the strength and development of the body. From this understanding, it becomes perfectly clear that semen is the most precious substance in the human system. That is why it is emphatically stated in the Shiva Samhita. In other words, retention of semen is life, its loss is death. We should therefore endeavor our level best to conserve every drop of this precious substance. Rightly has it been said by the wise that chastity is life and continence is heaven, but sexuality is death and lust leads to hell. This is not a moralistic judgment, but a pragmatic warning about the dispersion of energy and the erosion of self when we allow unbridled lust to dictate our actions. For men, confronting their shadow self, the unacknowledged desires and fears of rejection, is the crucial first step to cease chasing the phantoms of pleasure and to commence building a robust foundation for healing. A student of Dhanvantari, the revered father of Ayurveda, approached him after completing his full course of Ayurvedic studies and said, "Bhagavan, teach me the secret of health." Dhanvantari replied, "Chakra, or semen, is verily Atman, the soul. The secret of health lies in preserving this vital fluid. He who wastes this energy will have no development, physical, moral, and mental." Lord Krishna emphatically states that a man of unbroken continence is not a man, but a god. What is there in this world that cannot be achieved when one preserves this jewel of semen, by whose power we possess so much glory in the whole universe? Sri Ramakrishna describes the following 8 kinds of sexuality that can be considered as types of relapses on semen retention or continence: thinking, hearing, and talking about sex, playing with, looking at, and conversing with the opposite sex in secret, attempting at, and finally the performance of the sexual act. These are the 8 kinds of sexuality according to the wise. Continence, which involves not doing any of these, should be practiced by those who aspire to self-mastery. To harbor impure thoughts in the mind is a form of incontinence. Christ rightly says, "Whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath already committed adultery with her in his heart." Matthew 5:28. This teaching speaks not only to actions, but also to the subtlety of thought, setting a higher standard for self-control. A self-control that originates from confronting one's darkest desires and learning to reroute them. This is the very essence of ego death, when we relinquish the ego's power over fleeting temptations to pursue a higher spiritual purpose. William Loftus Hare, a master theosophist, in his lecture at the Open Court in Chicago in March 1926 on generation and regeneration, provided convincing arguments regarding the biological necessity of semen retention. He pointed out that the undifferentiated germ cells of the body are performing 2 functions simultaneously, namely internal reproduction or regeneration for the building up of the body, and external reproduction or generation for the continuation of the species. He proved with biological facts and figures that the regenerative process is fundamental for the individual and therefore necessary and primary, whereas the generative process is due to the superfluity of cells and therefore is secondary. Both are closely dependent on nourishment, and if this be low, there is a deficiency in both processes.
William Loftus Hare further elaborated that the law of life at this level is to feed the germ cells firstly for regeneration and secondly for generation. In cases of deficiency, a very common feature in modern men and women, regeneration must take the first place and generation be suspended. Thus, we can deduce the origin of the suspension of reproduction and follow its later phases in human continence and asceticism. Generally, every moment of growth from conception onwards exhibits this increasing power of regeneration. If regeneration ceases or is imperfectly performed, disease or death will supervene. The nemesis of reproduction, he asserts, is death, and the sexual act or the release of semen is essentially catabolic in the male, and in the parturition of the offspring, it is catabolic for the female. Hence, the insightful writer contends that virility and vitality and immunity from disease are the normal lot of nearly all or wholly continent persons. A proof of this, if a rather unpleasant one, is derived from the fact that a very large number of diseases in men have been and are cured by the artificial injection of semen from debilitated persons. This starkly highlights a harsh reality. The pursuit of pleasure without discipline can lead to the weakening of the self, not only physically, but also spiritually. Confronting this truth is an essential component of healing for men. Patrick Geddes, a biologist and sociologist, writes in his The Evolution of Sex that the association of reproduction and death is indeed patent enough, but the connection in popular language is usually misstated.
The true statement, as far as history furnishes an answer, is not that animals reproduce because they have to die, but that they die because they have to reproduce. In support of this view, Goethe, the great German thinker, says that it is not death that makes reproduction necessary, but reproduction has death as its inevitable consequence. When physical creation is stopped, the way to intellectual creation is opened, and when intellectual creation is suspended, spiritual creation or religious experience becomes possible. For men, this is a profound reminder that sexual energy can be transmuted from a driving force of death and depletion into a potent source of energy for personal and spiritual development. This represents a journey from lower instinctual drives to a higher self, an ego death of the old self to be reborn anew. Zoologists inform us that continence is observed by lower animals, as for instance cattle, to a greater extent than to human beings. And this is a fact. The reason is that cattle have perfect control over their palate, not by will, but by instinct. They subsist on mere fodder, and of this too, they take a quantity just sufficient for nutrition. Isaac J. Bibber, a Latin writer, states that the organs of generation in the animal kingdom are for the most part concealed by nature, as if they were to be ashamed of them. Khan Sahib Abdul Ghaffar Khan of the Frontier Province once remarked to Mahatma Gandhi that observance of continence was genuinely natural to the tribesmen, who were natural semen retention practitioners outside marriage. The secret of their well-known hardiness and strength lies as much in their chaste lives as in their open-air life and invigorating climate. Both men and women marry after full maturity. Unfaithfulness, adultery, or unmarried love are practically unknown among them. For them, union outside wedlock is punishable by death. The injured party has the right to take the life of the wrongdoer. This illustrates a culture where discipline and the control of instinct are held in high regard, and there are clear, severe consequences for transgressing these rules. This stands in stark contrast to the moral laxity and absence of personal responsibility often seen in modern society, where love, addiction, and indulgence are frequently tolerated. According to medical science, healthy sexual glands ensure physical vigor and a long life. When these glands function properly, they emit an internal secretion that stimulates and strengthens organic tissues, especially the brain cells and spinal cord. The practice of semen retention practically demonstrates that continence can keep these glands most healthy and active. Margaret Sanger, the pioneer of the birth control movement in America, and Dr. Hutton, an American physician, after discussions with Sri Yogendra, the author of Yoga as Personal Hygiene, Bombay, frankly admitted that if practicable, the yogic method of active continence is the most ideal solution to all the important questions of birth control. Mahatma Gandhi rightly asserted that sexual act for the purpose of carnal satisfaction is reversion to animality, and it should therefore be man's endeavor to rise above it. Man is superior to the brute insomuch as he is capable of self-restraint, of which the brute is incapable. Self-indulgence cannot be the law of life, as some advocates of contraceptives hold, except to the idiots and imbeciles. Passions are never extinguished by satiation or satisfaction. If you make sense pleasure the ideal of your life, a time will come when nothing will any more please you. It is described in Adiparva, the first book of the Mahabharata, chapter 73. Lust is never gratified by enjoyment. Enjoyment increases the passion as ghee poured upon fire increases the latter by leaps and bounds. All the corn, gold, animals, and women that are on earth cannot gratify even one mind. Give up, therefore, desires which are quenched not by enjoyment, but by elimination.
Gandhi's words and these ancient texts deliver a powerful wake-up call to men caught in the vicious cycle of love addiction, perpetually seeking external gratification yet never achieving genuine contentment. This represents a crisis of modern masculinity, where the pursuit of short-term pleasure has supplanted the search for deeper meaning and purpose. To heal, men must confront the dark truth that what they are relentlessly pursuing may in fact be destroying them. Mahatma Gandhi further asserts that birth control by artificial methods is race suicide. Resort to artificial methods is like putting a premium on vice. They make men and women reckless. Self-control is the surest and only method of regulating the birth rate because it promotes the well-being of individuals as well as society. Experimental evidence of modern science which goes against absolute continence is correct only when celibacy is enforced on brutish people. Such people cannot eliminate sexual impulse, so it poisons their system, deteriorates their sexual glands, and brings on premature senility. It is also true that married life led with moderation and restraint prolongs life and guarantees health. Continence, or semen retention, infinitely increases the power of retentiveness and remembrance. Try to gain absolute mastery over thy sexual instinct. If one succeeds in doing this, a physiological change is produced in the body by the development of a nerve known by the name of meta. Its function is to transmute lower energies into the higher. The knowledge of the higher self is gained after the formation of this meta nerve. For many men, this is a literal process of ego death, a profound transformation of consciousness and energy. It demands an extreme level of emotional discipline, a willingness to confront the darkest parts of oneself to achieve true enlightenment.
Sri Ramakrishna, a revered spiritual leader, declared, "When continence is established, infinite energy is gained." Patanjali, a Hindu author, mystic, and philosopher, affirmed, "Attainment of continence is the secret of all occult powers and makes one capable of transmuting powers to others." Vasudeva, a revered sage, warned, "Those who believe that happiness is in the body and misery in whatever hinders sexual pleasure, how they become satiated with it and die of it." Blaise Pascal, a great French philosopher, concisely stated, "To be strong, be pure." Jules Michelet, a French historian and writer, observed, "No one but imbeciles mocks at chastity." Justin Gardet, a French lawyer and politician, proclaimed, "The future is for the nations who are chaste." Thomas Mann, a German novelist and philanthropist, believed, "Spotless chastity is the best of penances." A celibate who is endowed with spotless chastity is not a human being indeed, but a god. To the celibate who conserves the semen with great efforts, what is there unattainable in this world? Shankaracharya, a space scientist and philosopher, warned that lust ruins life. Luster, strength, vitality, memory, wealth, fame, holiness, and devotion to truth. Sri Krishna, or Lord Shiva, linked debility of intellect, especially of the memory, characterizes the mental alienation of the libidinous or the sensualists. Dr. Louis, a specialist of neurology, corroborated these findings. Ultimately, the message of continence and its creative power, filtered through the unsparing lens of dark truth therapy, is far more than a mere call for physiological continence. It is a profound invitation for men to bravely confront the darkest aspects of their being, the uncontrolled desires, the paralyzing fears of rejection, and the patterns of love addiction that have unknowingly shaped their lives. By rigorously practicing emotional discipline and learning to consciously reroute their creative energy, men can initiate a process of authentic healing, not by shying away from the light, but by courageously facing what they have long buried in the shadows. It is a transformative journey towards self-mastery, profound self-awareness, and ultimately, liberation from the shackles of the lower ego, allowing them to uncover the limitless power and creativity that resides deep within. This is the path to becoming a stronger, more authentic, and more purposeful version of oneself, a path that many modern men are desperately seeking. If you are a man ready to stop chasing fleeting pleasures and start confronting the raw truths that hold you back, if you are prepared to heal not by avoiding the dark, but by integrating your shadow self, then dark truth therapy is for you. Dive deeper into the truths of male psychology, love addiction, rejection, and the shadow self. Like this story, share it with a man who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to Dark Truth Therapy for more insights that confront what you buried in the dark to find your true light.